and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See the shit, force of air. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one leaves countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is a belated Rock the Boat Radio right here on UCY.TV, my favorite little network. And viruses are flying everywhere. Things are screwing up everywhere. And but we're on air now, so that's good. I was going to talk about a video, which I'm going to put in here after. I'd like everybody to watch it because this is how the Jews operate, and we have a Jew up here, Jew lawyer, by the name of Ezra Levant, who runs the Rebel YouTube and Facebook sites, and no problem, Jules. I was worried something happened to somebody, so this is a piece of cake. It happens. So yeah, let's blame Microsoft because Microsoft is a virus, and Bill Gates is a virus, and so it stands to reason. But I'm going to put that video on there because we have that. I forget what his name is, or Melanu or whatever his name is. It's doing. I'm going to find it again. Anyways, we have a Jew that's put up a site. All this guy is doing is trying to collect money. And he's the Rebel Media. Rebel.media has put up a news site called Save the Christians of Iraq from Genocide. Donate and watch all the videos here. And or you can watch the rest of his bull crap on the Rebel.media on his regular site and donate so you can watch all the videos here. The guy's a Jew, he's a lawyer, he's a criminal, and he hooked up with this other dipshit. What'd I do with that video now? Maybe it's here, is it? Oh no, there it is, maybe. Yeah. And I've never listened to this guy much. I've seen him around, Stefan Molyneux. Now, his bio says he's his mother was a petty Jew in Germany, whatever a petty Jew may be. But Ezra Levant is a first-class Jew. And these two clowns are discussing that we need to save the Christians. Now, these are a couple of psychos. You know, they're bringing up stuff like the Pope should be involved in saving the Christians. Well, what the Pope's involved in there, you two dipshit Jews, has nothing to do with the Christians, okay? The Pope is in the Geneva Bible, written in there as the Antichrist, and the Geneva Bible is the Bible that the folks brought over on the Mayflower to get away from the tyranny and the bullcrap that was going on under the Roman Christianity. So, you know, some guys got looking at it, i.e. Martin Luther and Calvin and some other guys, and they realized that the popery had nothing whatsoever to do with anything but evil. But you guys wouldn't know that because, well, you're Jews, and it's just humorous to hear a couple of Jews talking about saving the Christians. That's just amazing because the Jews don't recognize Jesus as the Messiah. So, but hey, nice touch. So I'm going to put this in there right now. You guys can listen to it. This is the biggest bowl of crap I ever heard, and I'm going to take these two clowns down one way or the other. I don't like deceivers. I don't like liars. Never did, never will. You know, I've spent most of my time online since I started doing these shows. I don't go out of my way to do it, but when I see somebody that's obviously a player, I got to say something about it. And these two clowns are obviously players. And I'm not real popular with other radio hosts, show hosts. The only ones that might be popular are the ones that are not deceiving the public, and those are few and far between. And I'm proud to say that we have some very good, honest, straightforward, non-deceiving hosts on UCY.tv. Yeah, I've had out several people, quite a few people actually, and so I'm not the most popular guy on the whole of the Truther Network groups, because the Truther Network groups have got nothing to do with the freaking truth. And so some people are starting to understand that now, which is a good thing. We got to work our way through the bull crap and clean this up. But these two clowns are just another example of using a certain amount of truth and a whole lot of bull crap to convince people that, hey, we care about the Christians, so, hey, send us some money, okay? Levent, bite me. Molinex, or whatever your name is, bite me. You're a couple of scoundrels. So you guys can listen to this over in UCY. I'm going to stuff it in the chat. Or you can just go to Save the Christians, Rebel Media, and I think this video is there as well. It's the Send Us Money video so we can save the Christians. You know, I don't even want to use the Christian anymore. I'm just going to use the word Protestant, because the problem with the word Christian is it gets all screwed up and it gets mixed up with the Catholics, which gets mixed up with the Vatican, which gets mixed up with Rome, which is absolutely, completely, and totally evil. So like it was like Simon I was talking to Saturday night from South Africa. You know, it's a Protestant movement they're growing over there. Not a Christian movement, a Protestant movement. Because it was that movement that outed the fraud of Rome and the Vatican and the Popery and all that kind of stuff. These guys are not, the Pope is not the vicar of Christ. He's the vicar of friggin' Lucifer or Satan or the devil, whatever you want to call him. It's always been a war between good and evil, and these two guys I'm about to stick in the chat are most definitely evil. So we'll stuff that in the chat. You can watch it whenever you want, or not watch it at all. But I'm sick and tired of this garbage. We got a fight on our hands, And we got too many people listen to jackasses like what I just put in the chat there. Levent, I'm going to do a show probably Saturday night or Sunday night or Sunday afternoon on Levent here. This guy's a piece of cake. His debating partner in Calgary was none other than a Muslim who became the mayor of Calgary. And he said after the second year as his debate partner, he was worried about the Christians. So he went and got a different debate partner. But he was instrumental in having another Muslim put into the federal government. This guy is a cracker, but he just proves once and for all that the Jews and the Muslims are a tag team. The Jews are the brains, the Muslims are the infantry, and they're coming for us. So anybody that got any dumbass idea that the Muslims hate the Jews, they're both Semitic. They both kill their food the same way. Neither one of them eats pork. Okay? They're on the same damn team. But I'm going to bring that out better sometime this weekend, either Saturday night or Sunday. Had it with these clowns. Anyways, on to some other UN news. That's what they are. They're just freaking players. I hate players. Damn, I hate players. Here we have the Toronto Star. Funeral homes warned to be prepared in advance of possible pandemic. And you got to see this picture, man. You got to see this picture. There's a woman, a blonde woman, middle-aged, all dressed in black with a black umbrella, holding a gravel shovel or dirt shovel with the shovel part up and the handle down. And she's standing in a graveyard in the fall, in the rain. And so here we go. A pandemic may not be a problem in some communities, but funeral homes in larger cities may not be able to cope with the increased demand, the Public Health Agency of Canada warns on a webpage. Now, the Public Health Agency of Canada is just an agency of the UN. That's all it is. Canadian health officials have extensive plans to ensure people survive a future influenza pandemic, but they've also made macabre recommendations for the nation's funeral homes for those who don't. In a pandemic, each individual funeral home could expect to handle about 6 months' worth of work within a 6 to 8 week period. The Public Health Agency of Canada warns on a webpage about the management of mass fatalities during a pandemic flu. They may not be a problem in some communities, but funeral homes in larger cities may not be able to cope with the increased demand. One of the agency's recommendations is that funeral homes make advanced plans for what to do if their staff gets sick, including making arrangements with volunteers from service clubs, churches, to dig graves. Storage space for the corpses could also be a problem, the agency notes, and it says refrigerated trucks or ice rinks could be pressed into service if needed. Funeral service providers, I can assure you, throughout their history have responded to these sorts of tragedies and would do so again to the very best of their abilities. Alan Cole, a board member of the Funeral Services Association of Canada and president of McKinnon and Bowes, a company that provides services for the funeral industry. But finding a funeral home that's willing to talk about its own pandemic plans is difficult. The Canadian Press reached out to numerous funeral homes in several Canadian cities and asked whether they were prepared for a pandemic, but no one returned the calls. Cole has been serving on a committee for about a decade to deal with the infectious diseases and how they affect the funeral profession. He said interest in planning rises when diseases such as SARS or Ebola are in the news, but wanes when pandemics fade from the headlines. Cole said it was also difficult for funeral homes to stock many of the extra supplies they would need if business unexpectedly picked up. Anything that you buy and save for some horrible eventuality, these items that have a shelf life, you couldn't buy, for instance, latex gloves, put them on the shelf and expect 15 years later they'd be in good condition. They simply aren't, Cole said. Subsequently, for a private enterprise to go and undertake that sort of an investment for a potential community requirement would be hugely onerous, and as a result, I don't think many really embarked on any sort of a program to upgrade their inventories for some sort of potential requirement. The Public Health Agency's 2015 guide for the health sector on planning for a pandemic notes that historically pandemics have occurred 3 to 4 times per century. However, it says there is no predictable interval. Now, it says the health agency, the Public Health Agency's 2015 guide for health sector. Well, that is the 2015 guide from the WHO, which is the World Health Organization. Okay, they just transfer this crap around. This all comes out of all of this health stuff. Everything comes out of the United Nations and their multitude of agencies and their multitude of funders and their multitude of NGOs. But it all comes from the United Nations. The agency says that during a pandemic, some families could experience multiple deaths at the same time, straining funeral financial resources for high-end funerals. So it's recommending funeral homes stock up on an extra supply of inexpensive caskets. Diseases like Ebola can spread through direct contact with bodily fluids of victims or corpses during the Ebola epidemic in West Africa. Traditional funerals in which mourners touch the body were a source of virus transmission. The Canadian agency says special infection control measures are not required for handling of people who die from influenza, as the body is not contagious after death. But mourners who attend funeral homes could be contagious, and it says it would be up to the provincial health officials to decide if restrictions are needed on the type and size of gatherings. The agency notes the average attendance at a visitation in Prince Edward Island is between 1,000 to 1,400 people. No special vehicle or driver's license is needed for transportation of the deceased, the agency states. Now, this is interesting. No special vehicle or driver's license. I don't have a driver's license right now because of this quasi so-called government nonsense. So maybe I'll just find a corpse and drive it around with me or something. Maybe I'll get a mannequin and say he's dead. I don't need a special license to drive this thing around, so piss off. Anyways, therefore, there are no restrictions on families transporting bodies of family members if they have a death certificate. So I guess I'll get myself a mannequin, make up a birth certificate or death certificate, stick it on the forehead of the mannequin, and keep it cold. You don't want a warm dead person or a warm mannequin. It might confuse somebody. Yeah. So anyways, that's that. So now we go to, where the hell did I get that at? Oh, I have this open somewhere. Now the kicker is, I guess I don't have that there. Okay, well, let's open up another tab right now because I want to read some of these headlines real fast. What we got here is, let's see, WHO warns of pandemics. Okay, let's wipe that up. Let's look at some of these headlines. WHO global phase of pandemic alert. This is the WHO. Bill Gates warns a deadly pandemic poses huge threat. The Daily Mail, England. Deadly mosquito-borne pandemic poses a greater threat to humankind than global war and could easily wipe out to 10 million people, says Bill Gates, or warns Bill Gates. Bill Gates again warns that epidemic could kill over 30 million people. CBC News, the World Health Organization, has warned again that a global bird flu pandemic is almost inevitable and could create a health situation worse than whatever. Whereas the Health Organization warning a flu pandemic today could kill as many as 80 million people. Holy crap, eh? And I wonder what that's all about. Oh, it wouldn't be the depopulation shit, would it? And for all you clowns out there, I mean you nice people out there that have been shooting yourselves up with vaccines and peppering your children with vaccines, turning them into bloody pharmaceutical pincushions. You see, these vaccines are there to weaken your immune system and hopefully sterilize your children. And, oh no, the doctor said it'll help us with the flu bug. Well, sorry to break the news to you, but you've been lied to again. Maybe the vaccines will ward off global warming. Who knows? I guess if they kill you all, I guess it, as Gorbachev says, it's really simple. Kill 95% of the people and then global warming problem solved. The environment's saved. Stockholm, the World Health Organization warned Tuesday of a large measles outbreak in countries where immunization has dropped after more than 500 cases in the highly contagious disease were reported across Europe in January. Influenza vaccine capacity lacking. Yes, I know. Kingston now has a free abortion pill, so that. But it's not recommended for Muslim families, only white Christian families or white Protestants. This is getting out of hand. If I was thinking if I was the prime minister, I saw a thing in here going by here, and I think it was from Bill Gates again, Mr. Vaccine Man, was that this next pandemic that they're cooking up. Bill Gates warns tens of millions could be killed by bioterrorism, and that's absolutely correct. Because the United Nations and Bill Gates and Soros and all the rest of these whack jobs, the Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie, all these whack jobs are in the business of bioterrorism. And they're cooking these stupid viruses up. Now, how they deliver them, I don't know. Maybe they'll put them out in the chemtrails. But I saw one in here, and I don't know who it was. I thought it was from, maybe it's not going to come up again. I may not put the exact same thing in. Press TV, Bill Gates warns new pandemic could kill millions. I saw one in here that it could be worse than a nuclear war, the death count. Now, they did this back in 2011, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Bill Gates warns about threat of a man-made pandemic. Okay? Bill Gates warns about threat of February of 2017, warns about threat of a man-made pandemic. But the WHO is there to save your bacon. Now, the man-made pandemic is going to be made by the exact same assholes that made the man-made global warming. Is anybody getting any of this yet? I know my listeners are. I know for sure the guys in the chats are. But, when they had the swine flu, what's this? Pandemic of anti-Semitism taking shape worldwide. Shape worldwide even threatens America, warns top U.S. Jewish leader. So we have an anti-Semit. They'll probably come up with a vaccine for that. The anti-Semitism vaccine. Hey, Jews, we're getting tired of your crap. Now, I was going to say is if I was the prime minister of this country, what I would do is I would put billboards coast to coast that would be played on the media 24/7 that I'm calling open season on the United Nations and anybody that supports it. Go hunting, folks. Might even put an ear tag on it and pay you a bounty on these clowns. These peoples are conspiring to murder you. And you better come to grips with that pretty damn quick. But the pandemic, I didn't know there could be such a thing as an anti-Semitism pandemic. That comes. I just seen where this is coming from. This is coming out of the Times of Israel. The anti-Semitism pandemic even threatens America, warns top Jewish leader. Let's see. Terrorists could wipe out 30 million people. From Bill Gates again. The bird flu. Now, in 2011, I think it was, when it got around to here, I think it was 2011. I remember getting up one morning and early, and I was in the truck, I don't know, about 6 o'clock in the morning, and turned on the CBC radio, which is the Canadian, or the Communist Broadcasting Corporation of Canada. And some guy called in about the pandemic, the H1N1 flu. And what he said to the guy on the radio was, "Don't you think you guys overhyped this a little bit?" They were sending body bags up to the reserves and all kinds of weird shit going on. People are just freaking out. And the Communist Broadcasting Corporation of Canada says, hey. Now, the media's been spewing this UN bullshit to everybody. So now CBC's been spewing all this crap. And so CBC says to the caller, hey, don't look at us. We only go with the agenda that's handed to us. Okay? No, that's not what he said. He said the script. That's the word he used, the script. We go with the script that's handed to us. And then we fearmonger you with it. But us, we don't know squat. The stuff comes in off the fax machines or whatever, and we pick it up and read it. Now, Bill Gates again warns the world is tragically unprepared to stop global pandemic. Scientists are trying to do something. Let's see, pandemic. But somewhere, I was hoping I could find that one because that was right off the deep end. I'll go one more crack at this and see if I can dig it out. Dr. Margaret Chan, head of the WHO, offers stern warning about the impending flu. That was in 2016. Great Gates. What the hell is Gates? I mean, the Gates doesn't work for the WHO. He put a lot of money into vaccine business, but he don't work there. But all I'm seeing is WHO warnings and Gates warnings. That's it. Gates warns conflicts stoke risk of global pandemic. And that was again in 2017, in February. I can't find it, but I did see one in here where it was worse, going to be worse. Let me see if I can get it this way. This is just off the top end. Now, back when we had let's see if we can dig it out that way. Bioterrorism could kill more people than nuclear war, says Bill Gates. He was busy in February 2017. I mean, this is nuts. Here he is again. Warns bioterrorism worse than nuclear war. Says there's something worse than nuclear war, says Big Bill. And it's the next epidemic. Gates warns on biological. I'm going to be done with this. Anyways, now, we know how this operates. If I can find my blog somewhere. I can't even get into my blog. I haven't been there much, and I can't remember what my freaking password is. Let's see. I want to read this because it's important for people to understand Um, I looked into this back at the H1N1 flu thing, and it's not hard. You can dig it out of what is that called? H1N1, and our health agency lady. Dr. Arlene King just happened to be over at the WHO. This was October of 2007. So I thought, well, maybe I guess it was 2009, the pandemic, or the so-called pandemic. Man, time's flying. This is October 2007, WHO headquarters, Geneva, Switzerland. Initiative for Vaccine Research and Global Influenza Program, Immunization, Vaccines, and Biologicals, World Health Organization. All populations in all countries are expected to be susceptible to infection from a pandemic influenza virus. Progress since May 2006 in implementing the GAP strategies, presentations and discussions held during the meeting serve to review activities contributing to the implementation of the GAP. Major progress has been made by the vaccine industry. That would be, I guess, Bill Gates and the boys in developing H5N1 vaccine formulations, which will allow the substantial antigen sparing in case of a pandemic. Indeed, 3 multinationals have shown appropriate immunization of the vaccines candidates containing whatever. Okay, so here's the problem. Here was the problem back then. And I can put this, I suppose, in there as well for people to read. And one of the problems was that the vaccine thing was going along pretty good, but they were concerned that if a pandemic didn't arrive in the next couple of years, which is right on their timeline, and the so-called H1N1 showed up 2 years later. But the problem was that they were making a lot of cash off the vaccines, and the program was rolling along pretty good, and the propaganda was sucking people into getting vaccines, and the players were a little concerned that if there wasn't a pandemic soon, people would lose interest in the vaccines. I don't know if there's any collusion in that or not. Must be just a coincidence. If there's not a pandemic, next 5 years, but we got it in the next 2 years. If there is not a pandemic within the next 5 years, there may be loss of interest and political awareness, and other public health needs may shift investments away from pandemic influenza, i.e. the vaccines. So, they're cooking up these bugs. If you looked into the Ebola thing, that's obviously was cooked up. Apparently the AIDS virus was cooked up in the lab, and we got us a problem. Okay? This is an absolute conspiracy to commit mass murder. And like I said, if I was a prime minister of this country, I would have billboards up across this nation with a open season sign on it, with the W, with the United Nations and everything that's attached to it. They either come in peacefully and we'll jail you, or we're going to shoot your asses off. That includes the bankers, which are United Nations players. The money system's phony. The law system's phony. The health system's phony. The food system's phony. The whole damn thing's phony. And here we sit like a bunch of idiots putting up with it. That's got to end pretty damn quick. So I'll put this in. This is from 208, so I guess, it's 207, so I guess it must have been 209 when the pandemic came through. And I love this. The Canadian government has shielded the manufacturers from any liability in the case of side effects or death from the vaccine. Beauty, eh? Absolute beauty. I'll throw that in there and you can read that. And do what you will with it. And if you are listening, you can go to my blog, which is canadiantruths.wordpress.com, and you can just go in the search bar there on the blog and punch in H1N1. That's all you got to put in. And it'll bring up Dr. Arlene King. You see, they cannot bomb us. They know that. It won't fly. The West does the bombing. And so they do this, it's a spiritual psychological war. And psychologically, they got most people messed up, believing all this nonsensical propaganda that they've been pumping out for many decades. Now we got another story, and geez, doesn't this story just kind of remind you also of they just keep pulling the same template off the shelves. That's all they've ever done. That's what they do. Now, I read something somewhere today. I change these stories pretty quick. Let me see if I can dig this out. I've seen a story. I mean, I almost puked and laughed at the same time when I went to get a coffee this morning because, the headline was, this lady standing in the graveyard with an umbrella and talking about the funeral homes need to get their act together and get a bunch of volunteers together to bury all these pandemic victims that are coming up. And I also saw another story that apparently now North Korea has a nuclear warhead that can, hit America. Now I see Trump's jacking up that if they don't shut up soon, where the hell did that story get to? If North Korea doesn't stop rattling its nuclear saber, that they're going to go and wipe out North Korea. Now, kind of reminds me of Iraq a little bit, And, besides the bioterrorism nonsense, the nuclear warhead, and Hans, whatever his name was, that was actually the guy working through the UN said that he couldn't find any nuclear anything in Iraq. But that don't matter. We'll just keep jacking up the rhetoric. And, before they went into Iraq, I mean, what the hell? There was some pretty huge protests across the globe. But hey, we got to take these people out. We'll see how that worked out. And now, so we have the next run of saber rattling, this time towards North Korea. Now here's the headline here. Did Donald Trump accidentally threaten nuclear war out of a penchant for hyperbole? This is all part and part of the nonsense. And, Israel's involved in it somewhere. But they're just they're gonna spin up the pandemics. They're gonna spin up the threat of nuclear war, and they're gonna spin up the problem with man-made global warming until everybody's just freaking out, and they may just drop in an alien or two. So, like Kissinger said, that everybody will run to the UN to protect them from the aliens, and then the world will be all peaceful again, and we'll have our one world order. Freaking nonsense, man. Here's some good news, though. U.S. mosques and Muslims are being increasingly targeted in the United States. So that's a bit of good news. And the LBGTQ, I don't know if anybody saw this or not, but the LBGTQ has taken over the swastika as their love symbol, their peace symbol. Now, if I wore a swastika, or I put one on a building, you know what happens if you put a swastika on a building? All hell breaks loose in the media. Anti-Semitism, Nazism, skinheads, white power, white race, supremacy, holy shit. But, if you're a member of the whack jobs, LBGTQ, whatever, it means peace in our little rainbow colors. Brands attempt to recast Nazi symbol as a token of peace and love ignites swift backlash. A design studio that tried to reclaim the swastika by selling shirts emblazoned with rainbow versions of the Nazi symbol has pulled its products after weeks of backlash, including from National Anti-Semitism Group, which is kind of weird because it's the Jews that putting all this shit forward, the LGBTQ, the multinationalism, the migrants, the whole 9 yards. But even though these groups are doing everything the Jews want them to do, they still, even when you put a rainbow color to the swastika, the Jews still can't deal with it, can they? Anti-Semitism. Damn. You'd think the Jews run the world or something, A little group of these people, and they just yip it away and all hell breaks loose. So there's a video on that on YouTube and that. They have a bunch of different, I didn't know they pulled this stuff. I just saw this video last night. I was kind of giggling about it a little bit. Just absolute insanity is what's going on the planet. And this is just straight up garbage shit. I saw another story in here somewhere that some cop or ex-cop got busted for raping a 9-year-old or something. I did, someplace. I don't know exactly where I saw it, but I did see it. And, we have to get our nations back, man. I don't even want the JUX. I don't even get that. I'm not even going to give them that. You know, I'm just going to stick with the word Jew. If I've upset somebody, then take me to the Human Rights Commission. Other than that, everybody back off. I was born a guy who says what he means, what he says, and says what he means. And if it upsets somebody, well, they can just walk away from it. Or if they want to debate it, feel free. But don't threaten me. That shows that you're on the wrong side of things and you got something to hide, which is obvious. Very, very obvious. I can't find that story here about, well, let me see if I can find it. See if I can dig it up. I mean, everything has gotten so out of hand. Oh, here we go. He was found guilty. Let's see. That's in the Star. Former RCMP officer. Now, the RCMP, these are the people that are helping the migrants and carrying their luggage across the border, the illegal migrants that are coming into our nation quicker by the day, has been this former RCMP officer found guilty of sex assault of a 9-year-old girl. Maybe he helped too many Muslims across the border and thought, what the hell, eh? Muhammad had a near 9-year-old wife. Why can't I fiddle with a 9-year-old? Former RCMP officers have been found guilty of sexually assaulting a 9-year-old girl. The judge convicted Robert Dowd Tuesday morning. The judge said she didn't believe Dowd's testimony, but believed the 9-year-old girl who said Dowd inappropriately touched her while the two were alone at a campfire gathering. Court was told the girl was with her father, brother, and 6 other people, including Dowd, who was not on duty at the time, at the campfire hosted by the accused. The girl's father said it has been difficult 3 years, but the conviction made it all worth it. Dowd is expected to be sentenced at a later date. And I would imagine he's not going to get too big of a problem. Even the clown who was the senior policy advisor for the curriculum, educational curriculum for Ontario, pushing the early sex ed, and he was a senior policy, Levine, I think his name was. I think he got 5 years, probably out in 2.5 or 3, and he is in senior policy advisor for the curriculum. The early sex ed curriculum. Turns out the guy's a freaking pedophile. We got some serious house cleaning to do, boys and girls, and we cannot just keep sitting back and watching this shit go on. It is a shit show. It ain't funny, and it threatens every man, woman, and child in our nation, and that goes for the Americans as well, and the Australians, and anybody in the West. So, I know people, isn't that awful, Edna? Isn't that awful, that RCMP officer? Now, he wasn't, it says former RCMP officer. What these guys do is they retire, right? Because he wasn't a former RCMP officer, according to the story when this happened, said he wasn't on duty at the time. But the headline says he's a former RCMP, so they just say, you better get the hell out of here, right? And that's the way it crumbles, my friends. So I like the one thing they said: if you're in the cities, big cities, they're going to hammer you with this pandemic, and because it won't spread as quickly out in the rural areas because we have lots of space and more of the people are healthier and generally not quite as stressed out. And So no, this is. I mean, all you got to do is go back there and look at Soylent Green, man. Look at New York City. You know, there was another movie made about New York City where they locked the whole thing down. Right? It was a prison, and that's what they're doing. They're running you into the cities, and they're mixing up a whole bunch of different breeds of people. You know, it ain't gonna be much different than putting the smallpox into the blankets they gave to the indigenous people when they came here to take their land. So, you know, it's just template time again, folks. If you see Bill Gates walking around, get a hold of him. This is one dangerous dude. And he probably is, you know, he'll be on Oprah and all them TV shows. Oh, Bill, you're doing such a good job, you and Melinda. Holy crap. Anyways, I think we're out of time, and just everybody keep doing your research, keep talking to your friends, keep teaching, talking, and shining the light, because we got us a third world war to win, and we're going to win it on our ground. And if you know a policeman or a military man or woman, you best start talking, because we got to get their stuff. Okay, so we're out of time. Take care, everybody. Back to Thursday.
Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes gun, trees, lie to your face.